The Venerable Don Bosco, the Apostle of Youth, by M.S. Pine. Chapter 6. Don Bosco's Protector, Grigio. You remember the bears that avenged the prophet Eliseus, and the tame wolf of St. Francis of Assisi. So history connects the name of Don Bosco with a mysterious dog sent to be his protector during these most dangerous years of his life. A beautiful, strong gray dog, whom they named Il Grigio, the Gray. Sometimes returning from Turin to Valdocco late at night, he pursued his way without a thought of danger, though the place was full of quagmires and thick hedges, safe hiding places for assassins. One night a vague fear assailed him, when suddenly a huge dog approached, wagging his tail. Turning, he walked beside Don Bosco and escorted him to the oratory, but refused to enter. Afterward, whenever he was late, the dog was sure to appear on one side or other of the lonely road. 3 times Grigio saved his life. One dark winter night, Don Bosco took a short cut home. He noticed 2 men who had a suspicious appearance, and hurried his pace towards an inhabited house. In vain. One of the men rushed forward and threw a cloak over his head, and his mouth was instantly gagged. All hope had left their victim's heart, when suddenly a terrible howl was heard, more like the growl of a furiated bear. It was Grigio, who sprang first on one, then on the other of them, and biting, howling, and finally throwing one of the men down. Terrified, they asked Don Bosco's pardon, adding, "Call off your dog, or we shall be torn in pieces." Don Bosco called Grigio, and the cowardly wretches beat an inglorious retreat. An assassin once fired 2 shots at his face, but they missed, and Grigio put the men to flight. Once at midnight, passing through the Place Milan, he saw a man following him armed with a great cudgel, and hastened his steps, hoping to reach the oratory in safety. He was at the top of the declivity when he descried a group of men who surrounded him with cudgels raised to strike. But suddenly the faithful Grigio appeared and sprang upon the men in such fury that they besought Don Bosco to quiet him. At his word the dog left them, and they fled in the darkness, while the heaven-sent deliverer accompanied Don Bosco to the oratory. Once Grigio assumed a different manner of guardianship. One night Don Bosco, some time after his arrival at Valdocco, found he had forgotten an important commission in Turin. He was preparing to start back, Margaret in the meantime using her best efforts to dissuade him. With reassuring words, however, he called some of the boys and went to the front door, when, lo, there was Grigio stretched at full length on the threshold. "Oh, this is good," said Don Bosco. "Our party will be the stronger." He called the dog, but Grigio would not stir. Twice he tried to go out, but Grigio made objections. Margaret laughed and teased him. "The dog has more sense than you, my son. Do you obey him?" And Don Bosco had to return to his room. A little later a neighbor came to warn him not to leave the house, as evil-looking men were prowling about the road. Don Bosco was at supper one evening with his mother and some priests when Grigio walked into the boys' playground. Young Buzetti cried out, "This is Grigio, Don Bosco's dog." All surrounded him, lavishing caresses on the beloved guardian of their master. They led him to the refectory, where he went joyously to Don Bosco, refusing any food. The dog, resting his chin on the table, looked at Don Bosco with deep affection. Then, going away, he disappeared, no one knowing whence he came or whither he went. His mission was fulfilled. But 30 years later, Don Bosco, with one of his young priests, Don Durando, was passing through an unknown road, the rain falling in torrents. They lost their way, and Don Bosco slipped into a quagmire. "Ah," he cried, "if my faithful Grigio were here!" His wish was scarcely uttered when a huge dog appeared. Don Durando was frightened, but Don Bosco caressed the dog, who showed great joy. "You say this is Grigio?" inquired the young priest. "Undoubtedly," was the answer. "The same size, the same color, and he recognizes me." "But are you really my old Grigio?" he said affectionately to the dog. "You will lead us out of this peril." The dog started off, and Don Bosco followed. Soon the 3 arrived at the Bordighera oratory. Don Bosco turned to thank Grigio, but he had vanished. How many conjectures have been offered as to the personality of this guide and guardian? I think that most persons concur in the opinion that it was Don Bosco's angel guardian. Some deem it to have been a special angel sent on that mission of deliverance. I know one who considers it the more plausible theory that one of Don Bosco's boys, for many died young, had come to be the protector of him who had saved his soul. The profound parting look of affection in Grigio's eyes seemed to support his theory. Or might it have been a soul from purgatory, Don Bosco's conquest from hell, that had been deputed to preserve the life of the holy apostle of Turin? That the dog was a supernatural protector seems to be the prevailing opinion.